Welcome to Dependable Flame, where we explore vintage petrol lighters, ashtrays, tobacciana, and other useful mechanisms. Make yourself at home.
Today we have a vintage Josephson and SHARPO aluminum block petrol lighter, I believe from the late 1940s. These are a very nicely designed, very well executed idea for a lighter. There seems to have been much more thought put into this particular aluminum block lighter than most others that you will run into. You can see that the fill screw is extensively marked Josephson and SHARPO, Glendale, California. The lighter is ribbed on 4 sides and also has a vertically ribbed file roller. I bought 2 of these lighters that were identical, other than one of them was in very good condition and this one was a little bit more worn. I have been tinkering with them, toying with them, using them, or maybe I should say trying to use them, for well over a year now. The reason that I had so much interest in these lighters and wanted to use them was because of the armor advertising SHARPO that I had before. It worked so well, but I didn't, because of the advertising on it, I didn't want to use it as just like a daily use lighter. So I was really excited to get this pair and put them to use. The flint tension adjustment is very fickle on these lighters, and I believe that is what has taken me so long to get this one tuned up. Once I got the flint sparking the way it should, this lighter seems to light at least 75% of the time. The majority of the time that I have grabbed it recently, it has not disappointed me. It is a very clean lighter. As I said, the wick has been replaced, the wadding has been replaced. It has a new flint in it. The piston spring exhibits good tension, although there is somewhere on the back side of the snuffer there where that piston spring has worn over time. But as I said, this was the more worn of the 2 lighters that I bought in that pair. It is still in very good overall condition. I have absolutely no doubt that whoever Josephson and Sharp were, they chose the SHARPO name because of its familiarity or similarity to the by then very famous Zippo name. Just doesn't make any sense to me otherwise. But catchy still. Obviously they did not overtake Zippo or probably even gather a percentage of their market share, but nonetheless, maybe they sold a lighter or 2 because of the similar or familiar way in the way that the lighter was named. You can see that it is a very robustly threaded fill screw, which has its paper gasket still intact. In the center, you have a standard screwdriver that operates your flint spring mechanism and also houses your spare flint compartment. It's very clean, very concise and well organized. You would not need another tool to perform regular flint changes or fueling of this lighter because of the screw that comes there in your fill screw, or I should say screwdriver that comes in your fill screw, along with the knurled fill screw, which is accessible along the edge of the bottom
the way that the fill screw slot is cut out there on the base. So you would not need a screwdriver, although this slot in this screw has been marred up by a screwdriver or a coin or some tool that somebody tried to use to open it at some point. You would not need that on a regular basis. I could feel fluid being thrown as I hit the roller, but didn't think that much about it.
And you can see I'm going to catch my finger on fire here. Not all that big of a deal.
Something you should be cognizant of, though, and have a fire extinguisher handy, and have your wits about you, and realize that if you get a little bit of fluid on your finger and that flame jumps over there, you could probably just blow it out or hit it with your other hand or whatever it may be. It's not that big a deal. Try not to get your hand completely soaked in fluid or get it on your clothes or anything like that. But you can see it goes out pretty easy, and you should be alright just as long as you're not being a fool about it. I think that had sort of leaked the fluid out when I was holding the lighter upside down when I had the fill screw out of it. And I'm going to light it up again a few more times here, and I don't believe that it caught my hand on fire anymore. If it did, I didn't feel it. It did once or twice maybe flare up underneath the snuffer there a little bit, but it happens from time to time. Petrol lighters are an inexact science. What you need to cause fire is very much a scientific certainty, but how those things all come together in our environment with the elements that we are dealing with on a day-to-day basis are a completely other thing. But as I said before, you can see the lighter is certainly worn, but in very good condition. Does show some soot and buildup, some darkening underneath the snuffer there, which is very common on these aluminum block Petrol lighters. I have never really spent much time trying to polish one. So now that this one is tuned up and operating correctly, notwithstanding the incident of catching my finger on fire, now I will go ahead, my plan anyway is to list this one for sale. I have this other one that is in much nicer condition that I will begin to mess around with an eye toward getting it working and having it as part of my collection, which I have been able to show you a couple of snippets of the work that I've been doing as far as the display of my personal collection. So hopefully I'll have that finished, and maybe even a how-to video on how to kind of do a DIY display cabinet with the LED lights and all that good stuff. So off to eBay for this lighter, and then the other one will be sitting beside me getting used for some time as I try to get it tuned up, and then hopefully be a permanent part of my personal collection. Until next time.